Good evening and welcome to the Black Table, where the truth is served straight, the laughs allowed, and the liquor flows freely. We're here to chop it up, break it down, and keep it 100 on all things men. Life and everything in between, that's what we do on the show. My name is Olamide, and I will be the skipper of this voyage tonight. We're talking about, everything, anything you can imagine. And with that being said, I'm going to start by addressing certain things that's happened tonight. But before I do that, I want to introduce the gentlemen who keep this table steady. The gentlemen who, in their many different ways, have tried not to get themselves into trouble every week. But I'll start by introducing the man to my left. He's a very special somebody. We call him the navigator. We call him the premium MC. He's a biker.
Yes.
He's a wiker. He's a striker. Wait, I'm not done. Wait.
I don't play football.
And wait, calm down. He's a striker. He's a very good one. He doesn't play football, but hands down, one of the best people when it comes to navigating through situations. It's the premium MC Deck Imafidon. Welcome.
Why does it feel like everything you're saying is not what you're saying? What you're just saying is something that you're
You
not
are a
supposed to
very
say.
smart man, and I respect that you caught that.
All right, thank you so much for having me again. It's always absolutely fantastic to be here, and I'm really grateful to God that, of course, it's another opportunity for us to air our thoughts. So we're hoping that you'd listen. Thank you very much.
All right, and of course, the man that you cannot miss, because this man carries a title that is bigger than most people.
Come on.
He is the most faithful man in
Lagos.
That might change soon.
He goes by the moniker, the mayor of Agungi, which might change soon too, because we want to make you the mayor of Banana.
Don't let them
Island.
Don't let my political rivals.
I'm so happy I'm hearing this right now. This is really, really fantastic. news, by the
And
way.
of course, if you guys don't know, you should know. This is one of the greatest voices that's ever
on radio.
On radio.
You know those those correct voices on radio.
Yeah, I've had my time.
Which one is I've had your time? You're just being modest.
He's smart. He's being modest right now, but it's
being
okay.
modest.
But we celebrate you, gang. We know who you are.
Thank you so
much. For those who don't know, we know you.
Thank you guys so
and
much.
We know what you enjoy during your pastime.
Exactly. It's always a privilege being here on the Black Table, especially with gentlemen like yourself, to discuss real issues with real men.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to ask this question, but I'm going to ask Gang first. Gang, how are you?
I will tell you the generic answer. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Even when I'm not fine and I'm not good, I'm fine and I'm good.
Okay. And Dick.
I mean, I could be better, but I mean, I'm grateful that, I'm here. I experienced a little bit of, ups and downs, during the week, but I'm okay.
But you've managed through it.
Yes, I've been able to
fantastic.
pull through, and I'm still pulling through,
All right.
I'm
fine, by the way, for asking. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. I'm fine.
Well, I mean, you can send I can drop my account number just so that if you help me, I'll feel better quick.
Also, that's the kind of unfine you are.
That is part of it.
But it's almost like money can solve anything.
My brother, money can solve a lot of things, not everything. A lot of things.
What can it not solve?
My brother, a lot of things. Just say.
Okay, so while that's going on, I need to update you guys on what we're going to be doing tonight on the show. We're still going to be joined by Titi Kuti, as you all know him.
Ade Tiger.
Yes, he has caused trouble. In fact, when he gets on the table, we have certain questions to ask him. But more importantly, there's been discussions over time on why we don't have women on the Black Table. And tonight, for the very first time, we're going to have a woman on the Black Table. She's not going to be sitting on the table, but she's going to be joining us where we, get to talk and,
Okay,
finally, my voice has been heard on the Black Table. I've been on the Black Table for God knows how many years, and I've been talking about this. I'm really glad this is fantastic.
We've listened to the voice of the people.
This is fantastic. The only thing is that you guys didn't tell me on time so that I can, get my guard, because the truth is, before bottles start flying up and down.
So that's the whole idea. We didn't want you to know. Okay.
I'm looking forward to this.
I am really looking forward to it.
So we'll be joined by her, and of course, every discussion, we don't hold back. Remember, the Black Table is unapologetic. We are unafraid, and we say it the way it is. We take a quick break. When we return, we dive into our first quick fire, and hopefully Titi Kuti is here to join us. We're not just talking, we're celebrating. We've got a man in the house who needs no introduction, but we're giving him one anyway. He's graced the covers of magazines, lit up the silver screen, and conquered every stage he stepped on. He's a visionary, a trendsetter, a certified icon, a biker, and a ladies' man. He's got the swag of a king, the charm of a lover, and the wit to keep us all on our toes. He don't collect beep from my hand already. He's the definition of fly. Welcome, Titi Kuti, aka Ade Tiger.
The most loyal man, the most loyal man in Nigeria.
The most loyal man in Nigeria. Yes. We've got the most faithful man in Lagos.
Yes.
Now we've got the most loyal man in Nigeria.
Yaga.
Out of the shores of Nigeria, I can't speak for that.
Okay.
But yeah,
in Nigeria, we know about Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yeah. Welcome.
The introduction with me. I don't lie.
Wait, before we go any further, let me read a message. Someone that doesn't talk to me often sent to me the moment I put up your picture, and I said, "Oh, we have Titi Kuti on the Black Table."
Wow.
All the women have been on my case. I'm like, what is this now? Which kind of wahala be this?
That's so.
Let me just read the message. I'm not going to read everything because some are just like too much. Yeah. So let's see. You know what? I can't read any of this on TV. Okay. welcome. How's your day been?
Good. Busy, locked up, but I mean.
Busy means money.
Well, a mix of both. Money, value, impact. But I'm happy to be here. Like it's a perfect way to round up all of today's tied up activities
at the same time.
I'm trying to readjust. So this is the longest I've been out of town.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to readjust to, people not keeping to time schedules.
Yeah.
And planning for the traffic.
Yeah.
And like all those logistic things. I'm reactivating my Lagos street sense.
Anyways, welcome. Of course, we have Tier Gang on the bar. There is the man filled with wisdom. So you'll be dishing us.
Tier Gang.
Tier Gang.
Yeah.
Tier Gang.
That's somebody's name.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
I'm not a tiger, but I tried.
You're a lion.
So we'll be diving into our first story, which is our quick fire. Number one, paternity fraud. 4 children, one shocking revelation. A man's world turned upside down after he discovered that the 4 children he had been raising with his wife weren't biologically his. It all started when his eldest daughter took a DNA test to trace her ancestry and found no genetic connections to her father. She confronted him with the results, and although visibly shaking, he calmly asked her not to mention it to her mother. Well, this story is very interesting because after that particular situation, the man decided to do a test on 2 other of his children, and then discovered that those 2 don't, belong to him. But before we dive into the story, we take a quick break, and then we now break the story down, analyze it, and then see, what your thoughts are.
A few years ago, my oldest daughter had to take a DNA test for school just to figure out ancestry. During the DNA test, she came to me very, very sad because apparently me and her were not related. I was like, huh? When she told me this, I had to keep a straight face because the immediate shock was just wild. Then I decided to go with her to get a paternity test done. When we got the paternity test done, it was also concluded that I was not her father. At this point, I was shocked. I've had 4 kids with my wife, and she was the oldest, and I needed to see how far this rabbit hole went. I told her to not let her mother know that we know this information, and then I went to my next oldest child. Not mine. I went to the one below that. Not mine. And then I decided to stop there because the youngest child is so young that this may directly affect them, and they don't really understand what's going on anyway. So I didn't even want to go into that rabbit hole, but when I got the information, I immediately was like, let me go talk to my wife about this. So, like always, she didn't take responsibility or any type of accountability, and she said, how are you going to believe your wife over these tests? I was like, are you serious? Are you like, for real? Like, is this really where you're gonna go with this? Then she starts crying profusely and saying it was only one time. I didn't mean to do it. And I was like, it was only one time. hey, and then I showed her that each one of the children aren't mine.
All right, that's the video, and you'll just heard the whole story. Now, it's a very sad situation, but it's quite common in the world today, whereby, you know, a man discovers that his children don't belong to him. I'm going to start by asking you what your thoughts are on this, because it's quite rampant, and this is something we've talked about on the Black Table. Do you think legalizing paternity tests right after having children should be a thing across the world?
You want to know what I actually think?
Yeah, I want to know.
So I have to be very factual with you. I think it's never going to happen.
Why? Why do you say so?
Yes, because there's a sentimentality towards the feminine gender, and that's not going to go away in a long time. And I think the advent of feminism and things like that solidifies it, because now you have women in top positions, women who are controllers of industry that are willing to protect the feminine agenda irrespective of if it is positive or not. Yeah. So it's a wish that's never going to come true, unfortunately. Maybe 30 years ago it could have happened, but right now I think it will be very difficult. It's a balance that would be very, 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 very challenging to tip, unfortunately, because you have people who are guarding, they are custodians of that gate. Okay. So as much as it seems unfair,
to men.
To men. Yeah. But the truth is, society is never really fair to men, but it is what it is. So you take it in the chin and you move ahead. I mean, if reverse were the case, I'm very sure paternity test would be a 25 to 30 year jail term. But as it is, I just hope that at some point, because the self-awareness has to come from the gender that is benefiting from it. Yeah. And the benefit in the long run is detrimental to society. Why? Because it crumbles the family structure. Okay. But the self-awareness has to come from that, and it's difficult. Why? Because there's a large right now, the percentage is growing geometrically. Yeah. That benefits,
of course,
from it. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. My honest opinion.
Yeah. Dek, what's your summation on everything Titi Kuti just said?
Well, it's crystal clear, right? And one of the things that he said that really struck me was the fact that, you see, the entirety of this world revolves around women mostly, in terms of, sentimentality, like you said. A lot of people are, it's easy for you to blame a man than for you to blame a woman. And that is why it's easy to say that women don't cheat, when in actual fact, a lot of women cheat and they get away with it even better than men. And so it is important to understand that the whole essence of cheating doesn't show, in women as much as it does in men, of course, because, men would come out and, they do whatever it is that they need to do. But a woman can cheat and
like becomes, when they find you on the bed watching Netflix.
Who is that? Dude, I don't know what they're talking about. Well, what I'm saying, what I'm saying in essence is simple, right? The truth is, if there were to be a law, all right, that says that for every woman that gives birth to a child, you must run DNA. You
like
see
a paternity test.
You see that things will definitely change.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, before we go any further, gang, I need to hear your thoughts on this.
I agree with him 100%.
It's not going to happen.
It's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
It can't happen. See, I'll put it to you like this. In this patriarchal society where it is viewed like men have been at an advantage and have been enjoying certain things, are enabled to do certain things and get away with it. So it puts women somehow at a disadvantage. So to now question them, there's a level of trust a man has on a woman and a husband has with his wife that he just believes these are my children.
Okay.
Regardless of how he may have been living his life, whether he has been cheating or anything of the sort, there's this just belief and trust that we have enthroned on women that we believe they wouldn't do this to this extent to us, and we just accept the children as ours and raise them.
So, sorry.
So,
okay, sorry, I wanted to add something to that quickly. Not like add, but just ask the question. What happens in the situation where a man and a woman have absolutely everything that they want in life, apart from children, and the problem is from the man, and one way or the other, the wife, convinces the man that he is able to father a child, and she gets the pregnancy from another man.
Well, she gets pregnant by another man.
That has happened.
But does the guy know about it?
What do you think will happen? Do you think that a man that knows in himself, that knows that I can't father a child, right, would say, no, these are not my children?
Listen, I shared a story with them.
Let's.
I shared a story with them on this show a long time ago. What happened to one of my childhood friends? The 11-year-old son. One day, the father called the wife, and the wife came to confess that the 11-year-old son wasn't his, and the man said, "I know." The man had always known. And he even told her, "I know who the father is."
Wow. Oh, I see.
And she was shocked. So you've been living with me in this house, because the guy knew he couldn't have kids. But he enjoyed the happy home and seeing her happy and raising the boy as his own son. So there's a level to which men have done certain things and they accept it, not as if they can't.
So just to buttress what he said, there are certain things that men can carry on the shoulders, and which is the reason why I always wonder the reason why there's this argument about gender equality. We're different.
Yeah, we're definitely different.
We're both human, Homo sapien, but we're different species. Real talk.
They're so different.
Because the things that men can carry on their shoulders and move ahead, and no one still keep it together. If the tables were turned, you can't find
I was about to talk about tables turning.
You can't find.
I was actually about to
talking about
let me
tables
just
turning.
give you we talked about something on the table like some weeks ago, right? About the lady who went ballistic on her man in London, that he brought his younger sister only for the child to be his daughter. Do you think that he wouldn't have been happy to talk to the lady and tell her, this is my child? But because he knew that there was going to be some sort of hysteria, right? That's essentially why he lied, right? So, you see, it's easy for us to talk about the fact that DNA or no DNA. But when it comes to the man, it's like, no, this guy is a terrible human being.
This particular story, the lady committed suicide after, she couldn't handle and deal with what she's done. That's terrible. And that's not a solution. That doesn't solve anything, because she just leaves a big problem behind.
What is the reason behind the suicide in the first place? Because I saw that story. She was the one that went on Instagram Live.
Yeah.
And was recorded. And all of the abuse that people came to attack her with, she recorded it by herself.
Yeah.
And people picked on it like, how sensitive can
you
be?
How could you?
This is a child that has nothing to do with this situation. First. Two, what kind of relationship do you have with your husband that he cannot even tell you that there is a child somewhere? I can tell you, if it was a woman, from the day one, you know that there's a child. The child is, you can tell that for you to have some sort of a benefit or favor of accompaniment or companionship from the woman, the child has to either like you like the child. Like, she needs to see that. So
there's a bond.
So, but the truth is, women do this boldly. But when you flip the coin, the men have to hide and...
All right, so talking about women, there's a huge case in court right now. Of course, everyone knows the scandal. PDD is in court, and of course Cassie over the last 2 days has also appeared in court, and many questions have been fired left and right, and we need to dive into it. A lot of people have said, if you're following the story, Cassie gave her side of things, and she was cross-examined yesterday, and a lot of people are saying that isn't she supposed to also be held accountable for some of the things? And as she, really accepted the fact that while all of this was going on, she had a choice. Do you guys agree with that, school of thought, that she had a choice and she could walk away from the situation there and then? Or she was actually afraid and she couldn't do anything?
It's not going to happen. Every time there's there's a victim story of a damsel in distress that has been maltreated, taken advantage of, or used, pretty much. It's a catch.
Yeah.
Irrespective of if there's a flip side to the story. And this has been on for 30 years. And you have a situation where those that have benefited from it back then have transcended that information to those, growing into nurturing.
Yeah.
And it's transcending into the next generation also.
Yeah.
So there's a psychological platform where for lack of a better word, the gender war plays. And unfortunately, it is only the men that are not aware that there's gender war.
Yeah.
The women I've known for 30 years and they've built armies, which is why.
It's more like because they're the ones fighting.
Yeah, so also unfortunate. So the thing is, as much as a lot of times women seem to be the one who are in the victim position, it's a narrative that always sells.
Okay.
But the truth of the matter is that it is the men that fall for the same recurrent circumstances every single time over the past 30 years.
Okay, so let's circle back to the details of the case. We all know that, Dek, you've been to a few freak-offs, but we'll not start with you.
You've been to a freak-off?
Yeah, it's been to a few freak-offs.
What
I'm going to go straight to
Hold on.
Yeah.
Has he been to a freak-off?
What's going on here?
I need to know what I'm doing. Let's start from there. Have you been to a freak-off?
What's going on here?
Which freak-off?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because Metallic has
See, the worst thing a man can do is if you're accused of something and you're silent, it means a lot. Gang, yes, what's your thoughts?
Here's the thing.
On the case?
Now, unfortunately for in Cassie's situation now, when you're in relationships like this, when you're in an abusive relationship, yes, in reality there is always a choice, but the choices are not that easy to make. There's a lot of psychological, mental, so many things, and it's not that easy. In that video that was shown, she was walking away.
Yeah.
And he came to drag her back.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So people make it seem like it
she
was
faced different layers of abuse.
It's that easy to leave an abusive relationship. It is not.
It's beyond that. I would never support abuse from either parties, male or female. But what everybody is overlooking is benefits.
What are the things that came along
somebody
with
is there for certain benefits.
She was with him for 11 years.
So those benefits have intention.
Yeah.
And they carry interest. Why is that overlooked in the first place? So so now the point is, it gets to the point where this one individual is drowning, and then those
fingers are being pointed.
Those benefits can be leveraged on, and then it becomes.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, all it takes is one bad deed to destroy 100 good deeds.
100%, I agree with you.
You get me?
Yeah.
Nobody, we knew when they were together with Cassie, even after she left, got married, and is in another relationship.
Yeah.
And then this was brought back. Remember that video is from 2016. That's how old that video is. And it's just showing up. It's just showing up now. You get me? So like I said, back then, she went through what she went through. For her own benefits was there, but trust me, it's never easy for somebody to walk away from an abusive relationship.
All right,
there's situations where people are trapped in homes. They'll open the door and say walk out. They can't walk out.
So I want to identify a disparity here.
Okay,
there's a difference between being trapped and being indulgent for benefit. There's two different things.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot of times when people try to blur the lines, and so you can't really tell
you
the
can't
difference.
tell what is what, yeah.
Even that is based on benefits. There's interest. You want to woo everything so that you can't really
it
get
works
it.
in somebody's
It's
favor.
two different things.
Yeah.
There are people who are genuinely caught up. They're,
Yeah.
they're in the cycle. They've been so
but the people
emotionally
who are
abused,
benefiting from those
psychologically
things,
abused that they can't find a value for themselves outside of that abuse.
Yeah.
But there are people who they know what it is, that this is abuse. But you see the benefits set on the table. There's a target. There's an ambition. Why is that overlooked?
All right, Titi.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know you need to take your comment, but we need to take a short break.
Okay,
When we
that's fine.
return, you'll give your feedback on it. It's still the Black Table, the ultimate men's guide, and we will be right back after the short commercial break. All right, so much has happened behind the scenes, and many, under the water conversation has happened. But we dive right into our first and main topic for today, which is the evolution of masculinity in a time where we're living, in different changes, and perhaps nowhere is this more evident than in the evolving definition of masculinity. For generations, men were often defined by a narrow set of expectations, strength, stoicism, and success. But today, the script is being rewritten. What does it mean to be a man in the current age? How are men navigating the pressures of a changing world? And what does the future hold? We're moving beyond the outdated stereotypes, but the path forward isn't always clear. So join us as we explore the complexities of modern masculinity and the pressures, the challenges, and the opportunities for growth. So, yes, what does it mean to be a masculine man? In the words of the messages I've been getting ever since I put up your picture on my status, they say you are the ideal, man. Yes, the perfect man. Sorry, guys, sorry. They didn't say any of us. In fact, I was dissed, but they said him in particular. But yeah, let's ask you, what do you think is the definition of a modern man in today's society?
I actually think I would have preferred to sample everybody else's opinion first before I chime in. But
that's very modest.
Yeah.
But you answer.
I will. I will.
Now that's the kind of answer that the perfect man would have given.
There you go. Trauma.
That's the kind of answer.
Anyway, I did beef you. We'll talk about that later.
Why?
What
have I done?
One a man
It is what you are doing.
Can I bribe you?
Once a man like this is beefing you, it involves the other gender.
You're a very
But
smart man.
let's-
You're smart. You're too smart. So you wanted to say?
So yeah, like I was saying, he's tossed it to us to basically say what we feel about the current state of masculinity or manhood in general. And it's to be honest, the society we live in was built by men.
You think so?
Yeah, who built it?
Today's society?
Yes.
You sure about that?
This building, this place where we're under right now, these lights, this studio, this Echo Atlantic place. How many women did you see during the construction? Be honest.
The question. How many?
How many bricklayers? How many people doing the roads?
Okay.
How many people putting up the poles, doing the digging?
You have a point
doing
there.
the labor.
Yeah.
It was literally built by men.
Okay.
But thank God for your organization that has empowered a lot of women in it and has put them in certain positions.
But I think, you know what? Now, let me listen to you.
So I'm just saying that at the end of the day, now that the world is set and things are now juicy and robust, now all of a sudden people just want to come in and be like, you know what? You guys have done enough. We want to enjoy these things without knowing what it took to get there.
Okay.
So the male figure is being attacked.
You think so?
Yes. We've talked about it on the show to a certain extent. Because for some reason, I see it like this, and I've said it before, for some reason, women believe there's something men are enjoying that they did not enjoy. With certain freedoms. Or you can have more than one wife, or you can cheat and be rewarded, or you're a player. When you sleep with somebody, you're not condemned the way I am. When you do all sorts of things. So they feel like men are at an advantage in this so-called modern society that they've built. So they're fighting back now because they also want to enjoy certain freedoms.
So you think that affects what the definition of
so that's
modern
now what has
masculinity
affected
is?
because man is being attacked on his character, the way he carries himself, the way he lives his life.
Okay.
So that they can, in other words, do the same.
Okay, Dek, I need to ask you this.
Okay. Yes, please.
So do you think modern masculinity is dead? That's the first question. And do you think it's because of women?
Well, first and foremost, I don't think that modern masculinity ever even was recognized. And I'll tell you, from inception, if there was masculinity, I don't think Adam should have taken that fruit.
He went there.
That's a complex
He went there.
conversation.
Oh my God, no.
No, if it's a belief,
That's a
right,
very
that there's
complex
masculinity,
conversation.
this guy is a man.
Do you
If Eve comes to him and tells you, take this apple,
Yeah.
he'll say, no, I'm the man. I will not, my brother, I will not be suffering
let me ask you
today.
a question.
Today.
Let me ask you a question. And this is not to create any religious bias or sentiment. What if Eve eating the apple, was Satan having sex with Eve? Question. Just what if that's what it was?
That school of thought.
Let me bring my brain back.
Yeah, like what if the apple that Eve ate was Satan
I was
having sex with Eve?
So basically,
Oh my God! How did you get there?
Don't let see, my guy.
The Bible is complex.
This conversation that you're having
You have
is
to
not
know
it's not normal eyes conversation.
Wait, let me bring up my pen and paper.
So she came to Adam, and Adam was clueless.
Okay.
Completely clueless.
So let me, that was just, what I said
We'll
was
save
just,
that for some
was
other
just
day.
was just an icebreaker, basically, right? Let's be
I'm
realistic.
dumbfounded. I don't even know what to say.
Let's be realistic about masculinity in
today's world.
in today's world,
Yeah.
in the modern day.
Let's not blame
right?
Eve for that.
And the social contract.
Thank you.
Now you must understand that what we see as masculinity, especially in Africa, is not what masculinity is.
So
a lot
what's
of the
your
time,
definition of it?
masculinity in Africa is the fact that I am the head and you must be under me.
Okay.
Whatever I say must go. That's not the way it is in the West. You know that. A woman owns the house, whether or not you put the down payment for the house yourself. She owns the house. If anything happens between the both of you, he's out of the house.
Okay.
So, you see, this takes me back to the whole Cassie issue. And you said certain things about Cassie. I wanted to say something about the fact that, have you heard of the word Stockholm Syndrome before?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Have you ever heard of the word? It is important to understand that you can actually, fall in love with the person who is inflicting pain on you. Correct. And you must also understand that it is easy to feel pain and then begin to enjoy the pain.
Correct.
Not because you are enjoying the pain.
You're
right?
used to it.
Now, let me quickly come back to what masculinity is in this, sphere, right? Diddy used to call himself the king of where?
New York.
The king of New York. Do you know what it means for you to say that you are the king of New York? He had the resources, he knew people, he had power, he could do absolutely anything that he wanted to do in the modern day as a man. Do you know that Diddy never imagined that he would ever be incarcerated? He never thought that anybody, because he was friends with the mayor, he was friends with politicians and what have you. So as a man, you see, there are so many things that happen in modern day masculinity, like modern day man, that basically undermines the connection between a man and a woman. Like you said, you see, the differences between a man and a woman are totally different. It's a different world. If you're a man, it's a different world. If you're a woman, it's a different world. Now, let's take it to, this thing called, the other side, if you're playing towards the other side. I don't want to talk about it. But the LGBTQ community.
Oh, my Lord.
Now, hold on.
I thought I was going to say Zeno.
Hold on. What did Zeno do to you?
Sorry.
Leave Zeno out of this.
Have you asked yourself why some women want to be men?
Some men want to be women.
Some women, of course, some men also want to be
women.
Yes, I agree. But why do you think that a woman will want to be a man?
It's like I said, they think they're enjoying certain things. They think there's certain benefits to being a man.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You're a woman, right? and you want to be
Who's a
with
woman?
another. So
There's a woman on the table.
There's a woman. I'm looking at a woman, right? You're a woman.
No, he said you're a woman.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm not saying I'm a woman.
In today's world, in today's world, hold on. In today's world, right? We have women who act like men to marry women. Why doesn't that woman marry a man?
Okay, you know what? I need to hear from Titi Kuti.
I wanted to quickly say that the way this guy spoke, you can tell he's been to a freak off.
He has been to a freak off. I know what I'm talking about.
You guys should stop saying this.
Okay.
I don't even know what the freak off is. So
If
I will
I
report you in the metallic group. By the way, Titi and I are in the same biking club. Biking club.
Okay, biking club.
Okay, so Titi.
Okada is our correspondent.
Okada, okay.
Power bike.
Yeah.
Freak offs. He has to explain that.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's Olamide. Olamide is the king of freak offs in Lagos.
But he keeps pointing to you.
Because he has tried to drag me to one. I said no.
Desperation. All right, Titi, let's have you talk about the same topic. I am of the thought that today's men were softer. We're softer because a lot of men hide behind mental health issues. A lot of men, things happen, they're like, oh, it's affecting my mental health, rather than dealing with it.
I disagree. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
I disagree.
but that's the situation.
No,
a lot of people run and use that as a cover.
A lot more men are even more stressed these days.
I'm not saying men are not stressed. I'm just saying that in today's world,
a lot of men don't even talk anymore.
Titi, do you think
with the emergence of AI?
Men do.
Yeah, a lot of men don't talk. They just talk to AI. AI, I'm feeling like this. Do you think I should talk to my wife? The AI will say yes. If you were born, they will not.
Okay.
Before you know it, they commit suicide.
Thank
what are we
you
talking about?
for your take on that. But you're letting this man escape.
Sorry.
Do you think men are softer now? And in all honesty, I don't think it's because of women.
I'll agree that men from 34 and below could be softer. But from 35 to 50, no.
Okay. Why do you say that?
What would happen is they understand the terrain. They've lived part of all that has transpired, and they have a foreseeable perception of where things are headed, and they hold their space.
Okay.
It's different from being softer.
Okay.
So, I already told you, like, there's been a gender war for 35 years.
Invisible gender war.
It's not invisible, it's very visible.
Just open your eyes.
Home Alone, most of the films that we watched in 1993, 94, 95, they were talking about separation of families, and like it's already been implanted from then, and then it has grown till now. And
today is World International Boys Day.
Yeah, it is.
Wonderful.
Guess what? No noise about it too.
No noise, yeah.
But the day that we're doing Girls International Boys Day, you see it everywhere.
So wait, whose fault is it?
You just established. It's a social contract. It's just the way it is.
I believe in accountability.
It's
Gang established the fact that there are a lot of men behind what we have in today's world. Why is it that men are not celebrating men? Let's start talking about accountability here. A lot of men, and I do have this statement I make a lot. I said, men do not help men. When we started the show this evening, I asked the both of you, how are you? How are you? You said you were going to give me a generic answer. You said you were looking for money. We're not giving you money. But the point is this. When do men start taking accountability for what today's world is like? I remember when Uti was seated right here, and he was saying that today we blame a lot of women for things, but it's men like us that have created those situations. So I also think that men have become very soft, and then we point fingers rather than getting things done.
So you live in a world where women, when it favors them, want to be your equal. And then when it puts them on the back foot, you got to be a man.
Exactly.
That's the world you live in today. And the quicker you realize it, the sooner you understand the dynamics of what that entails, the more you can function productively. Because what you have is two standards that would at the same time suppress you and make you feel inadequate. Because it's a
So men, we have it tougher now.
we definitely have it tougher. Why? Because you have a lot of women who are in decision-making positions, who have risen through the ranks and are up there.
And they've earned it, by the way. We need to identify that a lot of women who are at the top
as much as they've earned it.
Yeah.
In my experience, I have still seen emotions play out where logic should thrive.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it. You find an establishment where, so for me, I have always admired women in administrative positions and, management, the whole thing's down. But when you give them the power of leadership, you need to have the strength,
Okay.
so to say, to be able to make certain decisions on logic.
On logic, yeah. Being objective.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the part that I don't think they've been able to, find a way to harmonize.
Okay.
And what has happened is there has been a cover for it.
So you don't mind if a woman is on top, or do you always want to be on top of a woman?
It's not about who is on top.
Okay, why does that sound
what
like
question are you
something else
asking?
entirely?
me-
I'm not. Which?
We need to be clear.
It's not about who is on top. Even
Okay.
in intercourse,
Okay.
there have to be dynamics.
I need to jot things down.
There have to be dynamics. But the most important thing is that there has to be a consensus of ideology, which is what is lacking.
Okay.
From intercourse to marriage to, there is no consensus of ideology. And why is that? A lot of women who have risen through the ranks to be at the top of
Captains
industry
of industry.
Yeah.
have used that as an instrument to suppress idealistic characteristics that can make relationship work. And the minute they find anybody that puts them on the back foot of that, it seems like a challenge immediately.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Instead of like, okay, this is so. Let me simplify
I
it.
get what you're trying to say.
Let me simplify it.
Titi, can I ask you a
Let me
question?
simplify it. You're an MD in the office as a woman. You control 50 men, but you don't realize that to make your home and family work, the minute you get to your house, you have to leave that status at the door before you walk in. It's difficult.
Oh, fantastic! I
It's
love
very
that analogy.
It's very difficult.
So I have two questions now. Number one, you, Titi, if you had an issue right now, you had like a very, very, God forbid, you have like a very emotional problem, right? And you go on TikTok and you are crying. What do you think fellow men will say about you?
So unfortunately,
As opposed to if a lady who is an actor, right, comes on TikTok live and she's like, oh my God, I have a problem with my landlord and everything, right? What do you think people will say if you went in that position and you were crying on TikTok? That is one. Two, you mentioned that if a woman is in a top level position, right, would she take that
Switch
that
of roles.
aura,
Switch of roles.
right? No, that aura
From
or that
work to
role
home.
from work
Yeah.
to the house.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, not an MD. You know why? Because the paraphernalia of an MD is strictly administrative. You have job roles like politicians. I'm talking about if a woman was a governor, for instance, or a woman was said to be like maybe a vice president in this country, where some of this paraphernalia follows her into the house. Take, for instance, her security would follow her into the house. Do you think that she would be able to, be submissive to her husband?
But that's
I can
the
tell you for
question
a
I've
fact.
ever
No,
had.
okay. I'm not going to ask you. Okay, so let me just ask you that
That's
question.
a long question. Okay.
Question 1 again. Rephrase it so I don't miss anything, please. Question 1 again.
Titi Kuti goes on TikTok live and is crying about an emotional issue.
Got it. So first, I already established the over sentimentality for the feminine gender in the society, which has been weaponized by a lot of them. Why? Because they were taught by the predecessors or precise, like the generations before.
Yes, I want to tell it.
Yeah. It's been taught. So you will never find me on TikTok. It's not going to happen. And I can tell you, there is no man who holds the space that will do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Okay.
So the comparison you're trying to make is an inexistent comparison for a minority of men who still belong to a certain school of thought. Kulishele.
aka it's not going to happen.
It's not TikTok. Who is TikTok? Who are the people that are there?
So we're talking about it in modern day.
I'm saying modern day. I'm
right.
a modern day guy. I'm not 60 years old yet.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go to TikTok and
then put out all your challenges.
So TikTok is just
but guys, we've run out
just
of
one of the
time.
stuff. I'm just talking about TikTok. It could be Instagram. It could be anywhere.
Any social platform. That's not where I'm going to deal with my issues. It's not going to happen.
All right.
But the women will have a field day about it. I'll answer his second question very quickly, which is she's a governor or whatever it is. Look, it's not about having 60 AD camps and all of that. It is how you sort of things would make them understand. They'll be telling themselves, we dey Oga house, so because Oga has made them understand that when I'm in the home, I'm a wife before anything else.
I like that.
Simple.
Because I know a deputy governor in Nigeria.
That's the part that a lot of
I know a deputy governor in Nigeria
because it's intoxicating.
That literally said to our security paraphernalia that the moment we get to the house, everybody fall back. She will serve her husband and kneel down.
That's how
deputy governor.
That's how to do it.
So on that
Even if you don't kneel down,
we've established that no matter what, it's an ongoing thing between both genders, and hopefully there's a balance sometime very soon.
Hopefully.
On this note, I want to say thank you to all the gentlemen on the black table for tonight. We all got the memo except for Gang, but because Gang didn't get the memo, he's going to be giving us just a tip, and we'll be signing out.
Oh, just a tip?
Yeah, just the tip.
Just the tip. Gang, why are you asking? You know now. You know it's the tip.
Tip.
Why do you want to put the entire shaft? What's going on?
What are we talking about here? I'm cut her back.
Word for tonight.
Okay.
Just a tip. Thank you.
I would say, okay, that's me right there. I would say, know your role, play it well. Don't try to be what you're not. So simple. That's all.
Thank you,
Thank you very
that
much.
was just a
Wow.
tip. Anyways, I'm going to raise our glasses up and then, celebrate all the amazing men and women out there.
What
and
happened
I want
to
to
our
say,
female guest, by the way?
oh, she bailed on us. Anyways,
Scared of the black
next week
table.
we would have a female presence on the show. Maybe not sitting on the table, but definitely we would have a lady give her thoughts on most of the things we're discussing on
What are
the
we
show.
toasting to?
So let's toast to good health, wealth, and the success of this gentleman right here, Titi Kuti.
Success of all of us.
Success to all of us. Now, Kilo Shele. It's
Against you people, you are buy one get 10 free, are all bonanza. On this note, I'd like to say thank you to all the viewers and of course all the guys behind the scenes. Thank you, guys are amazing. We'll see you same time, same station. Remember, the darker the night, the brighter the stars. Good night.
Good night.